Hey, this is ThinkerThunker. Before we get going, I want to thank YouTube. They actually did something that gives small channels like mine a chance to actually make a living here. Look just down below. I've got my own t-shirt shop. I've got my Bigfoot samurai avatar out there and some other designs I've done. Go check it out. And this t-shirt here is in direct response to the fact that about 8 out of every 10 people are 100% positively sure Bigfoot does not exist. And they think we're delusional, wasting our lives believing in an unprovable myth. But then it goes even beyond that. This topic is so dangerous, so volatile. If you were to even share your encounter or your interest even, it could cost you your job, friends, family even. I mean, why is that? It's like even suggesting there's something else out there on 2 legs and it's highly intelligent makes the 80% crazy. Okay, so now it's time. I'm calling out the 80% on this. What is this great knowledge you all have? Where did this come from? This knowledge of how everything in the universe really is. And something you selfishly never share with us. I mean, just on this one thing. What proof, what evidence do you have that Bigfoot does not exist? I mean, come on, bring it. Let's hear it. Finally, share this wealth of information you have. Or could it be that you, the majority, are the ones delusional, desperately clinging to a belief that you have zero proof for? Let's check it out. Okay, so how would you even go about proving Bigfoot does not exist? And the most logical, rational way I can think of is going with a high-tech approach already in place. I'm talking about satellites mapping the entire planet right now. If a species we call Bigfoot existed with these satellites up there, we should be able to count them like cattle on satellite imaging maps. But the problem with that is, see this? That's forest canopy. Under that, there are RVs and trailers and millions of campers out there, and we can't see one of them because satellites can't see under trees or anything else. And even if they could, it's just a bird's eye view. There's not much information on that. So the best shot at proving Bigfoot does not exist fails miserably right there. So now we'll go with the next best option, an army of drones out there combing through the forest. But again, it's the exact same problem. Drones can't see under tree canopies any better than satellites can. So what are you going to do now? Fly the drones through the trees? That's going to get a little expensive, isn't it? Drones and trees don't mix. Not to mention, battery time is no good. So suddenly drones are a costly logistical nightmare. So strike 2. High-tech fails again. Now this next idea to prove Bigfoot does not exist is pretty low-tech. And it's borrowing from an idea, a fundraiser back in the 80s called Hands Across America. They took 6.5 million volunteers, which was amazing. All those people came together. They held hands and formed a chain across America for 15 minutes for hunger and homelessness. And it was pretty amazing, except for the fact that they didn't really hold hands across America because that's impossible. You know, America has lakes and swamps and deserts and mountain ranges with 14,000-foot peaks. It's physically impossible to form a human chain. But even if you could put together a search party 6.5 million strong to comb through every foot of America, left to right, top to bottom, for the sole purpose of proving Bigfoot does not exist, it still wouldn't work because they'd only be combing the surface. What about all the caves and tunnels and caverns? Some cover hundreds and hundreds of miles underground, and some caverns haven't even been discovered yet, you know? So you can't prove something does not exist unless you look everywhere. That leaves us with one last surefire way to prove Bigfoot does not exist. It's probably the easiest way yet. All you would really need is just one volunteer who just happened to be an omnipresent, godlike being who could be everywhere and see everything all at once. You know, just have them take a quick look around. But even that wouldn't work because there's no such thing as an omnipresent camera that could film everything at once. So that would leave your godlike being with only their word and zero proof. And sorry, that's not good enough. So that's it. Game over. If you can't prove something doesn't exist, you have to admit it's at least possible that it does exist. And then when you factor in the thousands of eyewitness reports, like from trained observers and highly credible witnesses like law enforcement professionals, military personnel, pilots, rangers, firemen, that moves it from possible to highly probable Bigfoot does exist. And then there's the Patterson-Gimlin footage. Skeptics have had 50 plus years to prove that a hoax, and their best efforts are jokes, laughable. So no one should ever fear, ever again, coming forward with their Bigfoot encounter or expressing their interest, because the only people that would scoff are delusional, at least when it comes to Bigfoot. And I'm not saying that just to be mean. Having zero proof for a belief and then refusing to hear anything to the contrary is the very definition of delusional. So since the 80% are delusional, at least on this subject anyway, and yet they just love to scoff and badger and bully and troll us, I came up with this harmless looking little public service brain teaser for them, then slapped it on a t-shirt. And unlike the Patterson footage, which can be debated forever, this can't, not by a sane mind. To prove that, I'll ask you to hold your arm out straight, then see if you can make your elbow slide up and down your arm, physically changing where your arm bends. Or how about your knee? Can you make your leg bend in a different place? Can you drop your shoulders down, say 5 or 6 inches, changing where your arms raise from? Or how about your hips? Can you lower them down on your body, changing the way your legs move and walk? I'll answer that for you. No, you can't. Nobody can. And that's what this seemingly harmless little graphic shows. It asks people to simply use their eyes, their common sense, and align the dots. Because these measurements came directly from the Patterson-Gimlin film. And these, for the human ear, came directly from the dude claiming he was the one in the film wearing the female monkey suit. So unless this struggling cowboy had a magic monkey suit, he was lying. And those aren't just his ratios. Once you scale any normal human being, small, tall, male, female, doesn't matter, we're going to line up with those human ratios, which means Patty there on the right, she might not be a Bigfoot, but she's not human either. So wear this t-shirt proudly out into your world and welcome questions. And maybe it'll help open some minds, because the debate about whether Bigfoot exists is over. The smug majority just doesn't know it yet. They lost. And if the skeptics in your world still refuse to use even common sense, here's something they can try for themselves. Have them grab a 50-pound weight and see if they can throw it 30 or 40 feet, like we see in this video sent to me a few years back. They won't be able to. No human can, not from a standstill, using just one arm. Not even with half that weight. Now, this video still might not prove Bigfoot exists, but it does prove there's something really big out there roaming the forest on 2 legs with superhuman strength, and it's smart enough that we can't find it, it finds us. So call it what you will. So there you go, guys. That's all I've got. Thank you so much for listening and for letting me shamelessly promote my new t-shirt shop. I'm very proud of it, very excited. Special thanks to my patrons over at patreon.com, supportive and giving individuals, each and every one. I wish I could give them all a t-shirt, but I'm just not quite there yet. All right, that is it. It is your time to weigh in. Why is Bigfoot such a volatile subject? And what's it going to take for the public and media to finally give this topic the respect it deserves? I mean, there is something else out there intelligent on 2 legs besides us. I say take the discussion out to them. Maybe it's just the name Bigfoot. Maybe it's time for some rebranding. How about like forest giants or wood apes or maybe something Latin sounding, more technical? What sounds best to you? Take care, everybody.